Hi! So this is going to be probably the most controversial video I've ever made. And that's saying a lot because I recently made a video about Black Lives Matter. So buckle up. So I have been getting absolutely flooded with cold messages, Facebook group invites, posts on my social media feed from friends who have recently joined an MLM. Now I think that's probably because due to quarantine, the pull to want to work from home is stronger than it's ever been. And so I thought it was finally time for me to make this video. I've been dreading it because I know it's going to step on some toes and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I think it's really important because I didn't know any of these things back when I was kind of manipulated into blowing $100 in a Mary Kay starter kit a couple years ago. And I would have liked to have known these things so that I could have seen into what was going on and avoided it. If you're unfamiliar with the term MLM, that stands for multi-level marketing, which would be any company that does like direct selling methods, specifically when it's structured with multi-levels. So like your upline, then your downline, like that. So like somebody on your Facebook feed who is selling like makeup or nutritional shakes, that would be an MLM. If you've ever been invited to one of their virtual product parties, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are way too many companies to name specifically, but this would be things like Avon, Herbalife, Pampered Chef, Young Living, Plexus, Beachbody, Unique, LuLaRoe, things of that nature. And there's a whole bunch more. I have a huge problem with these types of companies, which I will get into, but I would like to start off by emphasizing that a lot of people that I dearly love are involved in the MLM world. And if that's you, I want you to know that I love you and I respect you. And if you're happy selling these products, more power to you. I'm not here to try to tell anybody what to do with their life. I'm not trying to tell you what companies you can and can't love. It's a free country. You can love any company you want, but I just want to make sure that people are aware because I think everyone deserves the ability to make an informed decision about something. So I'm just here to spread awareness. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not trying to hate on anybody. But here we go. So I have 5 main issues with MLM companies. Here they are. 1, they target vulnerable people, specifically women. 2, they end up wreaking havoc in people's relationships. 3, most distributors end up losing money in the end. 4, the products tend to be poor quality. And 5, the MLM world has a very unsettling, cultish vibe to it. So let's dive in. All right, so targeting vulnerable people. Let's start by discussing why people tend to join MLMs in the first place. And I feel like it's usually one of 3 reasons. Either they love the product, they're in financial need, or they're just craving community, something to do. If it's the first reason, dope, awesome, sounds like a good time. But if it's for those second 2 reasons, that's what makes me nervous because lonely people with financial difficulty, that sounds like somebody you could easily convince. And I don't like that. And what's sad is a lot of the time they end up even lonelier and more bankrupt than they were before. It's obvious that MLM companies target specific demographics. First and foremost, they target women. I've only ever in my life come across one man in the MLM world, and he was more on the feminine end of the gender spectrum, if that matters. It's just a fact that the products that these MLM companies sell cater specifically to women, like makeup or jewelry. And they also use a lot of slogans like girl boss and CEO to kind of give like a girl power vibe, which just makes women feel like it's empowering them to join these companies. Also, women just have a harder time saying no. So there's that. They also target lonely people, specifically like stay-at-home moms or military wives. They just have this really strong sense of community that's really tempting, especially if you feel like you don't have anybody else like supporting you. They also target poor and less educated people. If you are in financial need and you don't have really any marketable skills, what are you gonna do? These companies, you don't really need any like training or education to join, so it feels like an answer to prayer. And speaking of prayer, these companies also target religious people. A lot of these companies have kind of a religious undertone to them, which make specifically, I would say, Christians and Mormons, I think, more vulnerable to joining. Utah is an absolute hotspot for MLM companies and is uncoincidentally also a hotspot for Mormonism. So do with that information what you will. All right, let's move on to wreaking havoc on relationships. MLMs have a very bad reputation. Let's look at the Urban Dictionary definition for the term boss babe. Boss babe, a woman who pretends to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, or a saleswoman. They are that annoying lady who never stops posting on Facebook about a great new opportunity related to MLM businesses, pyramid schemes. They tend to hawk poor products for exuberant prices. Posts will typically contain excessive emojis, hashtags, and has a faux friendliness to it. Ouch. Now, once again, I need to clarify, if you're involved in an MLM, I am not here to judge you. My point in this section of the video is not to complain about you, but rather to warn people considering joining how this might affect their relationships with their friends and family. MLMs have a bad reputation for a reason. Let's face it, in order to make money off of an MLM, you kind of have to be annoying. You have to choose between maintaining social graces and making your money back. And a lot of us are fed up. And so if you're going to join an MLM, just know that your friends are probably going to get fed up with you too. If you're a female with a social media account, you're probably going to relate to a lot of what I'm about to say. So the first relationship problem I'd like to talk about is cold messaging. Cold messaging is when somebody you haven't talked to in a really long time slides into your DMs completely out of the blue with a message like, "Hey hun, how are ya?" just to try to sell you their product. People are so annoyed by this that hun has become slang for someone who sells for an MLM. This is annoying for multiple reasons, but mostly it's just hurtful because it makes me feel like the only reason I even matter to you is for the potential sale you could get off of me. The second problem is the way that MLMs exploit social etiquette. There's this unspoken pressure that since I'm your friend, I need to support your business. This is a problem for two reasons. One, your friends are gonna maybe low-key resent you a little bit because nobody wants to feel like pressured into spending money. But also, this can be bad for you because your friends might right at first buy a few things from you because they love you and they want to support you, but they might hate the product and they're not planning on like continually buying it. They're just trying to be nice. So you're gonna have like a false sense of success at the beginning, but friends who buy things from you out of guilt, that's not a sustainable clientele. So that's not going to work out. The third problem is, frankly, rudeness. I have PCOS, which among other things includes cystic acne and obesity. My acne has cleared a lot since starting on birth control, but for the longest time it was out of control. And I can't even tell you the amount of times that I had people who would, without considering for a minute if that would maybe hurt my feelings, just make comments about my skin and my weight because they had the perfect product that would fix it. Now, a lot of companies try to exploit women's insecurities for a sale. This isn't new, but it hits different when it's your friend. And I talked about this at length in a different video, but it's really insulting when people act like they know more about your health than you do. I had tried everything to fix my acne, and I was using like one of the most expensive skincare routines under the sun, and it still wasn't helping. So no, Rodan and Fields is not going to fix my skin. Sorry. And for that matter, neither is your low-quality protein Herbalife shake going to fix my weight problem either. I'm in this anti-MLM group on Facebook, and the amount of stories that people have shared about people trying to capitalize off of their health problems or family tragedies is just, it's disturbing is what it is. And the last relationship problem I want to talk about is just the abnormal behavior on social media. This is kind of hard to explain, but I feel like a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Like, for example, the bragging. Like, In what other situation would it be appropriate to be constantly posting about how much money you make and like posting pictures of things that you can buy with that money? Also like constantly posting about your body and your workouts. Like, it just seems weird and like gives off like boastful, prideful, materialistic vibes, which frankly for a Christian, that's not acceptable. You're purposely trying to create envy among your followers so that they'll buy your product, and I don't think that's okay. And you might be thinking like, oh, but I wouldn't be like that though, and maybe you wouldn't, but you got to know that you're going to face tremendous pressure from your uplines to do that kind of stuff, because that's the only way that you can increase sales and recruit downlines. Okay, moving on to losing money. I'm just going to say it. MLM companies are pyramid schemes. They're scams. If you ask them, they're going to be like, no, it's not a pyramid scheme. Pyramid schemes are illegal. But let's be real. Illegal things happen every day. And at its most basic level, multi-level marketing is literally a pyramid scheme. I think Mascara Beauty's website says it best. Yeah. The Huffington Post has a really interesting article about this called MLMs Are a Nightmare for Women and Everyone They Know. And it says this: multi-level marketing companies sell women on the dream of being their own boss, yet as many as 99% may end up losing money. That's some scary stuff right there, man. Now, I'm not a numbers person, and I'm not going to pretend to be one, so if you want more information about that, I put that article is linked in the description below, so you can go look at that. Here's the thing about multi-level marketing. It is near impossible to be successful without a massive downline, aka the pyramid. MLMs, by design, require a foundation of low-level participants who support a successful few at the top. So if you start out early in a company, you'll probably be very successful. But the problem is that if you start later, once the market is oversaturated, good luck with that. Also, let's acknowledge that income and profit are not the same. In these companies, you have to spend money to make money. You know, they want you to have products in order to demo them at parties, and they want you to have an inventory stocked up, and they want you to use these products regularly so that you can be proof that they work. So people go into debt to try to start this, and then what happens if nobody wants to buy your product? You're screwed. So long story short, is it possible to make good money doing this? Yes. Is it likely? No. So if you're not in the financial place where you can afford that risk, seriously, I would stay far away from this. Another part of the HuffPost article that really stood out to me was this: in reality, these women aren't their own bosses at all. They're not creating their own products or providing their own services. They're not setting their own hours or crafting their own business strategies. Often, they're slaves to social media, sales quotas, and the demands of their uplines, who happen to be the ones benefiting most from all their hard work. Okay, so low-quality products. Since recruitment is the main goal of most MLM companies, product quality is usually an afterthought. Do all MLM products suck? No. In all honesty, I think Mary Kay's mascara absolutely slaps, but so do a lot of other mascaras that I can get for half the price elsewhere. I'm not going to get into specifics here because there's literally like hundreds of MLM companies with hundreds of their own products. It would take literally forever to go through that, but I am going to link some like articles and videos in the description if you're interested in learning more about that. But honestly, it's not so much the poor quality that bothers me. I use Bath & Body Works. Obviously, quality doesn't matter to me that much. What I'm more concerned about is the healthcare and weight loss MLMs, which have dubious claims about healing certain illnesses. Health is serious, and we should not be messing around with it, and we shouldn't just be using rando products that the healthcare world hasn't okayed. I see this the most in essential oil MLMs. Oils are great. They are awesome, but they have limits, and going so far as to say that they do things like curing cancer literally cost me a family member's life, so please stop. It's also concerning to me when people label themselves like a fitness coach when they have literally no training or qualifications. I'm a cosmetologist. I spent a lot of time and money getting my license, and so it's really frustrating to me when people from Monet claim to be hair care experts, because they're literally not. Especially since there have been numerous claims that that godforsaken shampoo causes people's hair to fall out. So, cult vibes. The way direct sellers talk about their product reminds me way too much of the way that Christians are supposed to talk about Jesus. And I'm not even trying to be funny right now, like I'm being serious. I feel like I'm being evangelized to whenever someone just posts over and over and over again about how much this certain product just absolutely changed their life. Now I have like a weird obsession with cults, so I thought maybe that was just something that only I noticed, but I looked it up and there are tons of videos about this out there. I am not the only person that thinks that MLMs resemble a cult. If you're interested, you can watch this video. It's pretty short and straight to the point, so she says it better than I ever could. But the structure of MLMs, it's creepily similar to a cult. I'm not even joking. Cults don't have to be religious in nature to be cults. Commercial cults are a thing, and I'm sorry, but that's what this is. I've heard former members talk about that when they chose to leave the MLM, that they were harassed and bullied and sometimes even completely cut out of their former friends' lives just for leaving the company. Sounds very culty to me. Also, if you are familiar with cults or abusive relationships in any way, you may be familiar with the term love bombing. Here's the definition from Wikipedia. Love bombing, a coordinated effort, usually under the direction of leadership, that involves long-term members flooding recruits and newer members with flattery, verbal seduction, affectionate but usually non-sexual touching, and lots of attention to their every remark. So it's basically a form of grooming. I've heard a lot of ex-MLM members talk about being love bombed when they first joined the company, and then after a while that went away and they realized that that love was conditional only on how well they were doing with their sales. Another thing they do that just seems really cultish to me is the way that a lot of these companies are very like tricky and secretive about the product. A lot of consultants are told to like post about the product daily on their social media, but to keep the brand name hidden, which literally defeats the purpose, but okay. It's because they know they have bad press and they don't want people looking into it until they've already been convinced to buy. For the 5 seconds that I was a Mary Kay consultant, I was told the same thing. I was supposed to like advertise that I would be giving people free facials and free makeovers without telling them any more information than that. Like they thought they were just coming over to like get pampered for fun, not knowing that they were about to be like aggressively sold to. And this actually happened to me in reverse one time. Someone wanted to come over. I did not realize that it was to sell me products. I thought it was for something else. And then she got there and it was just kind of awkward because I was like, oh. And then I ended up buying stuff out of just awkwardness because I felt bad. Not a fun situation. It all just feels so sinister, like trying to creatively trick people into buying your products or trick them into becoming consultants. Like it's not cool. So the moral of the video is this. Please don't let anyone pressure you into doing something that feels too good to be true, because it probably is.